I still remember the day my friend Jimmy Wilson said to me, "Walter, they're just trying to protect us, that's all." But what he didn't tell me was that it was all a lie. It's a lie that stuck with me for decades, and I'm still trying to come to terms with it. My name is Walter. I'm 78 years old, and I want to share a story with you that taught me one very important lesson: the danger of blindly trusting those in power. It's a lesson that I wish I had learned much earlier in my life, but it's one that I hope can help you. I grew up in a small town in Ohio in the 1950s. It was a time of innocence, or so it seemed. I was a young boy, full of energy and curiosity, and I loved exploring the woods behind our house. My best friend, Jimmy Wilson, lived just down the street, and we would spend hours playing in those woods, dreaming of adventure and excitement. But our lives changed forever when the government announced that they would be building a new factory on the outskirts of town. They told us it would bring jobs and prosperity, but they didn't tell us the truth about what that factory would really do. The factory was a chemical plant, and it would spew toxic fumes into the air, poisoning our water and our soil. But we didn't know that then. All we knew was that it was going to bring work to our town, and that was a good thing. Or so we thought. My father even got a job at the factory, and we were all so proud of him. But as time went on, I started to notice that people in our town were getting sick. My mother would complain about the smell in the air, and my father would come home from work with headaches and tired eyes. I didn't think much of it then, but looking back, it's clear that something was very wrong. But here is what I never told anyone. I used to sneak into the factory at night, to explore and see what was really going on. I would climb over the fence and make my way to the heart of the plant, where the machines were humming and the chemicals were flowing. It was a thrilling adventure, but it was also terrifying. I saw things that I didn't understand, and I heard whispers of something being covered up. I didn't know what to make of it, but I knew it couldn't be good. As I got older, I started to realize that the factory was the source of all our troubles. The air was toxic, the water was polluted, and people were dying. It was then that I remembered Jimmy's words. "They're just trying to protect us, that's all." But I knew that was a lie. They weren't trying to protect us. They were trying to protect themselves. They were trying to keep the truth from us, to keep us in the dark so they could keep making money. The revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt angry, betrayed, and helpless all at once. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I had to do something. I started talking to people in our town, trying to spread the word about the factory and its dangers. But it was hard. People were scared, and they didn't want to rock the boat. They were afraid of losing their jobs, or worse. But I kept pushing, and eventually, we were able to get the attention of some reporters and activists. They came to our town, and they exposed the truth about the factory. It was a long and difficult battle, but in the end, the factory was shut down, and our town began to heal. But here is what I never told anyone. It took me years to forgive Jimmy for his part in the lie. I was angry with him, and I felt betrayed. But as I looked back on those days, I realized that Jimmy was just as much a victim as the rest of us. He was fed the same lies, and he believed them just like we did. And that's when it hit me, the danger of blindly trusting those in power. We have to be vigilant, we have to question authority, and we have to seek the truth. That's the lesson I learned from this experience, and it's a lesson that has stayed with me to this day. Now, I'm left with the memory of Jimmy's words. They're just trying to protect us, that's all. But I know the truth now. They weren't trying to protect us. They were trying to protect themselves. And that's a lie that I will never forget. If you like this story, and if you want to hear more about my life and the lessons I've learned, please subscribe to my channel. As I look back on those moments, I realized that it wasn't just my parents who were hiding behind a veil of deception. It was the entire community, the whole system that was designed to keep us in the dark. And it's a painful realization, because it makes you question everything you thought you knew about the world and the people around you. I mean, who can you trust when the ones who are supposed to be looking out for you are the ones hiding the truth? I've struggled with this for a long time, trying to make sense of it all, trying to understand why they felt the need to lie to us. And I've come to realize that it's not just about the lies themselves, but about the fear and the shame that drives people to tell them. My parents, they were scared. Scared of what would happen if we found out the truth, scared of losing control, scared of being judged. And that fear, it's a powerful thing. It can make people do terrible things, things that they would never normally do. But the thing is, the truth always comes out, eventually. And when it does, it's like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. You can finally breathe, finally see clearly. And it's a beautiful feeling, but it's also a painful one, because you have to confront the fact that you've been living a lie. And that's a hard thing to do. It's hard to admit that you've been wrong, that you've been fooled. For me, it's been a journey of self-discovery, of learning to trust myself, to trust my instincts. And it's not always easy. There are still times when I doubt myself, when I wonder if I'm making a mistake. But I know that I'm not alone, that there are others out there who have gone through the same thing. And that's why I'm sharing my story, because I want people to know that they're not alone, that there's hope, that there's a way out of the darkness. It's funny, because when I was a kid, I used to think that my parents were superheroes, that they could protect me from anything. But now I realize that they're just human beings, flawed and imperfect, just like the rest of us. And that's a hard thing to accept, but it's also a liberating thing, because it means that we're all in this together. We're all struggling. We're all trying to figure things out, and that's what makes us human. I've learned that the truth is not always easy to hear, but it's always better than a lie. And I've learned that forgiveness is not about forgetting, it's about letting go. Letting go of the anger, the resentment, the hurt. And that's a hard thing to do, but it's necessary, because holding on to those emotions, it's like carrying a weight around with you all the time. And eventually, it will wear you down, it will consume you. So, I want to leave you with a message of hope, a message of resilience. No matter what you're going through, no matter how dark things may seem, there is always a way out. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's up to you to find it, to seek it out. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to seek the truth. Because in the end, it's the only thing that will set you free. And it's in that moment of freedom that you'll find the strength to face the darkness head on, to confront the demons that have been holding you back for so long. It won't be easy, and it won't be quick, but with every step forward, you'll find yourself growing stronger, more resilient. You'll learn to recognize the signs of manipulation, the subtle tricks and tactics used to keep you in the dark. And you'll develop the skills to overcome them, to rise above the noise and find your own voice. It's a journey that requires patience, persistence, and courage. But the reward is worth it, a life of authenticity, of honesty, of freedom from the chains that have bound you for so long. You'll learn to trust yourself, to trust your instincts, and to trust the people who truly have your best interests at heart. And you'll find that the people who were once holding you back will begin to fade away, replaced by a community of supportive, loving individuals who will lift you up and help you shine. But it's not just about the people around you, it's about the person you're becoming. As you seek out the truth and find the light at the end of the tunnel, you'll begin to discover your own strengths, your own passions, and your own purpose. You'll learn to love yourself, to accept yourself, and to forgive yourself for the mistakes of the past. And you'll find that the darkness that once seemed so overwhelming will begin to recede, replaced by a warm, golden light that illuminates your path and guides you forward. It's a feeling that's hard to describe, but it's one of the most incredible sensations you'll ever experience. It's like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders, like a burden has been removed from your heart. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more alive than you ever thought possible. And you'll know deep in your soul that you've finally found what you've been searching for all along, a sense of peace, of purpose, and of belonging. And when you look back on the journey that brought you to this place, you'll see that it was all worth it. The struggles, the challenges, the dark moments, they were all part of the journey, all part of the process of growth and transformation. You'll see that you're stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than you ever thought possible. And you'll know that no matter what comes next, you'll be ready to face the future with courage, with hope, and with a heart full of love.